what's going on? I'm Ryan.
And I'm Melissa.
And we've been toying around with the idea of starting a YouTube show about our love of Halloween and deco for years, and you know what? We're finally doing it.
Cheers to that! In this episode, we're going to be talking about things that you can do, ways, tips, and tricks to create mood, and how a little mood goes a long way.
That's absolutely true, and sometimes there's no place like home, and if home is awesome, you never want to leave.
Exactly. In our case, it's kind of a spooky vibe too, especially with the fall here now. So what are some things that we could do to make our homes more mood enhanced?
At the end of the day, even if you're hanging out by yourself or a large crowd or having a party, it is all about lighting.
If it were up to me, the lights would be super dim right now, but we're on television. Important tip, work with what you've got. We live in a lower duplex. When you walk in, the first thing you see is a long hallway. That was a huge deal breaker for me when we were looking for a new place. I was like, if there's a long hallway, I'm not into it. But the difference was the hallway just on the left side opens up to a huge common room. So that was different for me. We could make that an advantage. So if we put lights all around each frame going down the hallway, when you have a guest, when you open the door and somebody is like, oh, hi, and they look into your home and they see down the hall and they see these really cozy lights and it's really inviting.
This is my dog, Fox. Say hi, little feller.
Fox, you're on television. You're on television. Around the holidays a couple years ago, I put up Christmas garland. And it was such a pain to take it down that I just decided to leave it there. And instead of white lights, we put orange lights.
Yeah, that's true. And as soon as the orange lights hit, like a light bulb went off in our heads where all of a sudden this is the type of color you want to have around all year long. And it also helped out the fact that you put a bunch of fake leaves around it to really spell the autumn feel.
I did.
Yeah.
I wanted to line all the doorways with garland, like fall foliage garland, but I couldn't really afford to splurge on that many garlands, even though they were on sale. So I got like a couple of them, broke them apart, and just like stuffed them in the garland. That worked out awesome. It really has this nature vibe to it. Absolutely love it. I think I would easily prefer that. And with the orange lights, oh my gosh. There's also a strand of white lights going through that I put around, that I turn on around Christmas time. So at any given moment, I can make the lights orange or I can make them white. And we're going to show a clip of that right now. See, now it's orange. It's all cozy. I don't even like saying orange. They're more like an amber. They're just so much warmer.
This is a true story. She literally prevents me from answering the door, even if it's cold and or raining, to make sure that the orange lights are on to give an impression when people first walk in the house. It's a vibe creator. I don't like parties that are lit like the pizza place after the bar.
I know, that's well said.
You know, when the house lights are on, make sure you avoid your typical overhead lights if you can help it. If you have a strand, especially we're talking about orange, plug that in, put it a little bit lower, and then you're lighting everything up, but at the same time, you're still conveying that vibe and keeping it kind of spooky and almost comic bookish.
Mm-hmm. One thing for me is I don't care for LED lights. Please don't come for me, but I would have just no lights at all. There's only like one kind of LED that I find warm. So those lights are cool, but they are battery operated. In terms of plug-in lights, they might say warm on the box or whatever, but if they're LED, I won't go near them. I am a fan of incandescent lights. Really, it's about the glow. The glow is just night and day from LED, and this is just something that I'm pretty steadfast about. You'll notice at places like Canadian Tire or all these home hardware stores, the incandescent lights are always gone. They're always gone.
Another thing about lights, I gotta say, I don't hate on LED as much as she does. But what I do love is these LED light bulbs that you can control what color they are going to be. Now, purple and blue are your friends, especially if you add a little bit of green in there. If you have multiple LED sources and you mix purple and green together, you've got some goosebump glory.
Yeah.
It's a new, we did not ever decorate with those types of lights and those colors before, but recently was doing a music video, completely fell in love with it, and I suggest it.
Look at the cover of, or the poster for What We Do in the Shadows.
Yeah.
That's a really great example of
that was an
purple light.
eye-opener. That and the whip
Yeah.
in the body that we saw on Shudder, that's yeah, that was amazing.
All right, so the next tip to make your house have a sort of mood that is really inviting and cozy is
Oh, music, of course. Now, a little a little tip that we do for our Halloween parties. We kind of realize that music, as much as it brings people together, it can kind of turn people off or kind of divide them based on the musical style you're playing. Depending what you're playing at a party, they could feel included or excluded. But everybody agrees that what's the best part about movies besides the movie itself? The soundtrack. Mm-hmm. And if you can find a good orchestral score from a film such as Sleepy Hollow or may I recommend Beetlejuice, that soundtrack is great to play at parties. There's also tons of royalty-free music that has creepy orchestral type of vibes. And once you play that, your party is not just a party at Ryan and Mel's house. You're in whatever reality we're trying to portray with the lights as well. It's all part of it, and music and lighting goes together amazingly.
We really like the soundtrack to the movie Dracula Dead and loving it.
Which is ironically the most serious part of a silly movie. Yeah.
So the last part of the video, as I had said, we were going to keep this kind of short and concise to 3 main points. So we have the lighting, we have the music, and the third thing are ambiance videos. Use your television as a piece of decor. Use your laptop. You can even use your phone, but I would advise more like an iPad or a laptop. Look at this. Virtual fireplace. That's obviously a television. That's just cast from a phone. I am a huge fan of ambiance videos. And they have all kinds of videos that you can just play and hear like the sound of falling rain or these beautiful visuals of an outdoor scene like at a pumpkin patch. And you hear hot apple cider actually being poured. I just play them in the kitchen when I'm cooking dinner, when we're hanging out, and we just have them on. They're very relaxing.
True story. When you do play a fireplace on the television, for some reason you psychosomatically feel a little warmer. So I've learned the hard way a few times, actually, that if you're playing stuff on the television, whether if it's a TV show or a movie, at a party, people tend to not talk as much or to each other because they think they're being rude. So with that, if you play music that's independent of what you're watching, people will continue to talk to each other and have a much better time, and the atmosphere will not get cut in half. And what I would also recommend is not putting on something that's long and dialogue based, because if you're playing music and you're just watching people do this for like 40 minutes, like, find highlights. If you want to watch a horror movie, find the highlights of that horror movie on YouTube. But what I really recommend is 80s and 90s Halloween commercials, because they're fast, they're completely a visual medium. You don't really need to hear what they're saying, and they go with all music because they're just so well done.
And another great thing about those are they're very nostalgic. Now, I mean, they're just...
I know you're vegan and you don't really want to promote them or anything like that, and I respect that. And I will say that watching Chicken McNuggets who are sentient and dress as vampires do not make me want to eat them, ironically. So,
There you go. So there's a bonus.
Yeah, those commercials make me grimace.
But the great thing about those commercial, like 80s, 90s commercial compilations, especially like Halloween themed, is that when you play them during, let's say, a get-together, people see that and immediately their faces light up because it's very nostalgic for most people, and what it is it's a conversation starter. And even if you do pay attention to the screen, they're commercials, so it's only like 30 seconds or so, and then you can kind of pick up your conversation again and that sort of thing.
Hey everybody, thank you so much for watching this. This channel's been on our hearts for a few years, but only it's coming to fruition now, so thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe, and we're going to put up so much more content because we love the season, and we love Christmas, and we love keeping it spooky all year long. So,
see you next time.
Bye. Another thing about the hallway, I tried to make it warmer by riding my tricycle around in it like the kid in The Shining, attempting to, run into some evil twins, but never quite happened. So I played Mario Kart on it.
He had lots of fun playing that.